Hello everyone, how is it going on? I'm back again with a project-based tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm gonna show how to create a simple CMS using PHP MySQL. So let's check out the demo first. This is the admin dashboard of the CMS. First, let's log out from this dashboard and let's log in again. So here we will use admin as the username and pass as the password. Let's log in. So we have redirected to the dashboard page. From here we can create new post. So let's create a new post. Let's give it a title, what is PHP, and let's copy some text from the Wikipedia page. So this is the summary, and let's put some other text for the content. Submit. So the post is added here. Now we can view the post and we can get back to the dashboard and we can edit the post. So instead of what is PC, let's put a question mark. Now click submit. So we see the question mark here. That means post updated successfully. We can see the success message here. We can also delete post. Let's delete the first one. So the post is deleted and we can see the message. We can also view the front end from here. So this is the front end of the website. Here we see the two blocks, and when you click on the blocks, you will see the individual block post, and you can also go to the admin panel from here like this. So that was the demo. Now let's get started on the project. Please subscribe to my channel if you are new to the channel so that you can get all the updates. So without further ado, let's get started. First of all, we'll have to start XAMPP control panel. If you don't have installed XAMPP software in your computer, you can install it by following the video I have on my channel. I have linked the video in the description. Please watch it. There is a step-by-step guide how to install XAMPP software and also how to install Visual Studio Code so that you can write the code. So now let's start these two modules, Apache and MySQL. Okay, now first we'll create a database. As you know, you need a database to create the project. So to create a database, you'll have to go to the localhost / then php myadmin, and from here let's create new to create a completely new database, and let's name it CMS and click create. Now in the database we'll have to create a table named post. So we are creating a simple CMS that will have only post. So let's create a table named post, and it should have 5 columns. So first column will be ID, and the type will be integer, so no need to change it. Then you don't need to specify any length here, and just click auto increment and primary key. So this ID will be auto incremented and it will be the primary key. Now let's add another column, and this column will be the date. So this is the published date of the article. In this case the type will be varchar, and let's put a length of 255. Then you don't need to specify anything here. The third column should be, let's put title, so post title, and it is also varchar, and here the length, let's put 255, and then on the fourth column let's put summary of the block. This case it is also varchar, and here let's put, sorry, it should be text, not varchar, as you know the summary can be bigger text, so let's put text instead of varchar. So in the text there is no need to specify any length. Then let's put content here, and the type will be medium text. So here you should see medium text, so it can be a little bigger than the text. So that's it. Let's click save. So we have the database and the table on it. Now we can start coding. So we'll have to create the projects folder inside the htdocs folder. So inside the C drive we have the XAMPP folder. Inside XAMPP folder we have htdocs, and inside htdocs we'll have to create a new projects folder, name it CMS, or whatever name you want to give it, you can give it. Now let's open this folder using the VS Code. So let's open folder, and then from the htdocs we have the CMS folder. Let's open it. Now this project is divided into two parts. One is the admin panel and another is the front end of the CMS. So let's create the admin panel. So for that we'll have to add a new folder named admin. So inside admin, first of all we'll have to create a form to submit or to add the post. So let's create a new file here and let's name it create.php. So it will be the form where we will add the post. So let's put the HTML5 boilerplate code using the using the shortcode of VS Code. Now here let's change the title to something else. You can put dashboard here or admin panel, whatever you want. Now let's put a div. So as you have seen already on the project demo, we have sidebar first and then we have the form. So let's create the sidebar here. Now actually we'll have to add a parent div first. So let's name it dashboard, and now we can create the sidebar. So in the sidebar we will not put any code for now. First of all we will create the form. So let's create another div, name it create form. And here let's put the actual form. So the method would be post, and the action I'm not putting anything here, I'll put it later. Now let's put the field. So first field will be the title, so that you can user can put or add the title. So the first field will be title and it will be text. The type will be text. So we can keep the field inside a parent div. So let's name it form field, and here let's put input field. So first one will be type text. This is for the title. So here the name attribute is important. So the name that you will provide here needs to be used in the PHP file. So let's give it a name, title. Then let's create another field. We can also put it inside form field parent div. And here in this case the field will be a text area because it will be the summary of the post. So let's give it name summary, and then let's put a placeholder, enter summary. Then let's copy this again. The third field will be the content. So let's give it a name, the content. So it will be the full content of the post. So the placeholder is enter post. Now we need another field. In this case the field will be hidden field because it will be for the date, published date. So user don't need to specify the date manually. It will PHP file will take it automatically. So we'll have to just put a little bit of PHP code here. So this input field will be hidden field. So type hidden. Here the name will be date, and the value will be we'll have to put a PHP code here, a little bit of PHP code. So there is a function called date, and inside the date function we'll have to add an argument. In this case it will be year, month and date. So we can keep it uppercase. Then that's it. I think we'll have to echo it. Actually we'll have to display it. So I mean we'll have to put we'll have to use echo so that it can get the value. Now we'll have to put the submit field. Again we can keep it inside the form field. Input type will be submit, and here let's put submit as value, and let's give it a name of as it's is the form to add post. So let's give it name create so that we can use it later. Now let's have a look how it's looking in the browser. Let's check. So localhost, then the name of the folder CMS, and then admin create.php. So it's really looking ugly. Okay, first on the first field we did not put any placeholder. So let's put a placeholder on the first field. It should be enter title. Now if you check, yeah, the placeholder is here. Now the form is looking really ugly. We'll have to use some CSS style sheet here. But as this project is for PHP MySQL, we don't want to use lots of CSS. So we will use Bootstrap CDN, Bootstrap framework. So let's grab the CDN. Just write Bootstrap CDN in your browser address bar, and let's click on the first link. Here we just need the CSS part, and let's copy the HTML code from here, and we can put it inside the head tag. So we have the Bootstrap. Now we can use the predefined classes of Bootstrap. So first of all, let's put some classes on the input fields. So we know Bootstrap has a predefined class called form control that makes the form element nicer. So form control TRL. Okay, let's copy this for each field. We don't need for the hidden field. And for this one, let's put a different class. That is also a Bootstrap class, button primary. Now let's put some spacing for each field. So we can add a class MB4. So it will add some margin bottom. Let's copy it for each field. Alright, now let's check it how it looks so far. Okay, it looks really weak, so we'll have to give it a max white. So in this div, let's put white 100%. Then let's add an inline class here, inline CSS, max white 700 pixel, and to center it, you can use another class mx auto. So it is short for margin auto. Now if we check, yeah, it is looking much better. Just we will have to add some spacing in the top. So on this div again, let's add a different class called P4. P4 means padding, means padding. So it will add some spacing around. Yes. Now let's add the sidebar here. So this is the sidebar div. Here let's put busy dark. So it will add a dark background and add a padding 4. So it will add some padding or spacing. Now first let's add the title of the dashboard, and it will be actually a link, so that from any page we can go to the dashboard page. So it will be linked to the main dashboard page. And let's add some class here. Text light, text decoration, so that there is no underline. Text light is for the color white. The color will be white for this text, and text decoration none is for so that there is no underline on this link. Now let's add a background on the H1. To do that, let's add a class busy primary, I think. Okay, now let's add, let's check it how it looks. So looks like the sidebar is on the top of the form, but we don't want that. We want the sidebar on the left side of the form. To do that, we can use flags. So on this div, let's put some classes. First one is div_flags, that means display flags, and then justify content between. So it will add some automatic space between the two elements, sidebar and form. Now let's remove the padding from the sidebar and let's add it on the H1. Let's see now how it looks. Yes, the sidebar on the left side and the form on the right side, so it looks nice now. Now to make our code more readable and so that it is easy to maintain for the future, we can separate this sidebar from the form, because we need this sidebar for each file we will create here. So to do that, let's create a templates folder inside the admin. Templates. We'll create here two files, header.php and footer.php. So let's cut this part of the code, inside the header file, and this part of code inside the footer file. Now we'll have to just include these two files here by using a PHP function. So the PHP function is include, and here we'll have to put the path of the header file. So templates and then / header.php. Okay, now let's copy this and let's do the same for the footer. Templates footer.php. It should look the same. Yes, so it is working fine. Now we'll have to connect this form with our database, so that somebody click on the submit button. After putting the value, it will be saved to the database. Here it will be saved to the post table. To do that, first of all, we'll have to connect it with the database. So let's create a new file on the main folder. Let's name it connect.php. Actually it is in the admin folder, so let's move it to the CMS folder, or you can do it like that. Move, yes. Now here let's add some PHP code. So to connect with the database, we need few things. We can store them, few data, we can store them into some variables. So first one we need is the database host. So in this case, as you're using localhost, in this case it will be localhost, and then database user. So you can use any variable name here. It's not mandatory to use like this. Okay, now the database username is root by default if you don't change them. Then we need database password, database password equals to, so database password is null by default, so we don't need to put anything here. Then the last value we need is the database name. So as you know, the database name was CMS. Now we'll have to use a PHP function called MySQL connect. So in this function, we'll have to put the argument as variables. So first one is database host. So let's copy it Second one is database username. Third one is database password. And the last one is the database name itself. We can keep this function into a variable. You can store the data into a variable called connection, CONN, short for connection. It will be used later on every function we will use for database things. Now let's check if this function returns true. So if it returns true, that means the function is working correctly and database is connected. To test that, we can use the if statement here, and inside this if statement we can write if not connection. That means if connection is not successfully connected, we'll give an error to the user, warning to the user, and the code execution will be stopped here. For that we can use the die function. Inside the die function you can print a message saying something went wrong. Database is not connected. Alright. Okay, to test it, we'll have to go to the localhost CMS, then connect.php. So there is no error here. That means the database connection is successful. If we change something here, like suppose change the database name to this, so we are using a wrong database name here. Now if we check, there is an error. So database is not connected. That means this function is working correctly. Now let's get back to our create.php. Here on the action, let's put a new file called process.php. So we have not created process.php yet. Let's create it. It will be inside the admin folder, process.php. Alright. So here let's put some PHP code. Here we'll grab on this file, we'll grab the value submitted by let's get back to that form again. CMS admin create. Yeah. So we will process the data sent by this form. So first of all, we will check to see if the form is submitted. So if is set. Remember, we have given a name here on the submit button. The name is create. So we'll check here if is set. There is a global variable that is called post. By post variable, we can check whether or not this button is clicked or not. So here it's a global variable, post submit, and global array variable actually. So in the array element, we'll have to put the name of the submit button. In this case, it is create. Okay, so if the form is submitted, if we set post create, let's grab the data. So first one is title. So let's store them into some variables. Title equals to. So again, we can use that post variable to store the data, to grab the data. Here the array key will be title, as here you see the name is title. And for the second one, let's copy it. For the second one, we have summary. So here the array key will be summary. Then we have the content. Content, as you see here, the name is content. Here, content. Now we have another hidden field here, and in this case the name is date. So it is the published date. So let's grab that one too. Date equals to date. Here it will be date. Alright, now let's have a check if we can see those variables, let's just echo them out. Title, echo summary, echo, sorry, it should be content. I forgot to change it. Content, echo content. Then we have echo date. Let's check it. So when we will create submit button, it will get to this file, and this file will check to see if the form is submitted, and it will display this data. So let's check it. Fresh into title, test summary, test content, submit. So you see it here, test summary, test content, and the date. That means it's working fine. But this is not enough. We'll have to save this data into our database. To do that, let's go to our file, and here let's include this connection file. As you know, we'll have to whenever we use something with the database, we'll have to include this connection file, because in this file database is connected. Database is the PHP is connected to the database, so we'll always have to include this file whenever we will work with database. So here let's include the file using the include function. So here the file is actually on the CMS folder, on the main folder. So we'll have to go behind. We'll have to go a little back to the folder. To do that, we'll have to put 2 dot and then slash and then the name of the file, connect.php. Alright, let's now let's sanitize this data so that user cannot put any special character. This is mainly for security. So we have a function called MySQL real escape string. Now on this function, the first argument will be connection variable. As you know, here on the connect.php, and we have included that connect.php here. So here we have the connection variable, so we can use it here. Yes. Now let's have a quick look if we can see an error. Okay, so there is no error. That means we can do it for other. So let's use this function for other data. Just copy and paste. I have to use this here, the second parenthesis, then copy for this one, use a comma here, and then put the parenthesis. Same for this one, put a comma, then the parenthesis. Alright, now we'll have to use the query, SQL query, to insert the data into database. So let's add the let's store the query into a variable. So the query is insert into the name of the table. In this case, the name of the table is posts, and then the parenthesis. Here we'll have to add the table column name. Let's get back to our PHP MyAdmin. Here you see we have ID, date, title, summary, content. So we don't need to actually add the ID. The ID will be auto incremented. We'll have to just add these things, these 4 columns. So first one is date. Then we have check again, title, summary, content. Title, summary, content. So these are the column names of the table. Now we'll have to add the values here. Values, and then again bracket, parenthesis. Here let's put the values. So we have the values here. So first one is date, so let's copy the date, and we'll have to put them as a string. So let's put quotation. Then we have title, then we have summary. Let's put the summary here, and then we have date. No, sorry, we have content. Just make sure so that, let's put the comma here, I mean quotation. Just make sure that this exactly maps with this. So date for date, title for title, so that you don't get confused when you see the database. Alright, now we have stored the query inside a variable. Now we'll have to actually execute or run the query. Let's put the semicolon here. So to run the query, we'll have to use a function called MySQL query. Here the first argument will be connection variable, and then the SQL insert the query itself. Alright, now we can check if this is successfully executed. To do that, we can use it inside a if statement. So if this function worked correctly and it is executed correctly, then we can do something here. We'll add the code later. Else, if it is not done correctly, then, or it is not executed correctly, then we can use die method here, so that the code execution stops there, and we can print a message saying data is not inserted. Alright, now let's have a quick look. So let's go to the admin create.php. Let's put the data, first block, enter summary, test summary, test content, submit. So we don't see this error message. We see just a blank screen because we have not used any code here, but we don't see the error message. That means it worked. So let's check the database. Yeah, we see a new data here with ID 1, date, first block, test summary, test content. That means it worked correctly. Okay, now this is time to show the list of the posts in the main page of the dashboard. So let's create a new file in the admin folder, index.php. So inside this, let's include the header and footer.php first. So include, so it is inside the templates folder. Let's put the quotation first, templates, then header.php. Then let's copy it for the footer, footer.php. Okay, now here inside this, let's create a new div, called it posts list. Here we will use a table to show the data. So let's create table. Here we can put some classes, table. These are also bootstrap classes. Table bordered. Inside the table, let's add t-head, and then th. So the first one can be publication date. Then let's put title of the post. Let's copy this 4 times. So the second one can be title. then the article, and then this can be for the action, I mean for edit, delete, etc. Alright, now let's put a T body. Now here we'll have to add the PHP code so that we can grab the data from the database. Once again, we'll have to include the connection file. So let's start PHP tech, and here we'll have to use the include function. As you know, the connection file is inside the parent folder. So let's use double dot and then the name connect.php. Okay, so we have included the connection file. Now we'll have to use the SQL query. So the query in this case is let's store this in a variable SQL select equals to the query is select star from the database table name posts. So it will grab the data from this post table. So select star from posts. Now let's execute this query using the MySQL query function. So you'll have to first provide the connection variable and then the name, the query itself. Let's put this into the result variable. Now we'll have to convert this result into an array so that we can loop through all the data from here. So right now we just have a one row, but it will have multiple rows when we'll add more posts. So we'll have to loop through each row. To do that, we can use the MySQL fetch array function. So this is the function MySQL fetch array. Inside this, we'll have to put result. Let's store this into data variable, and we will keep it inside the while loop. So while, that means this loop will end when it reaches the end of the result. So as long as we get the data, this loop will continue. Now we can print the data using the equal statement. To do that, let's separate and also we'll have to put those data into our TD into the columns of HTML table. Let's separate this PHP code from our HTML code. So you can do that like this. Here, let's TD. This is a column, and here the PHP code will be echo. So the first column is, as you know, the first column is publication date, so it is date. Then the second column, is title. If you don't remember those column name, you can get this from here: date, title, summary, content. Let's copy this. So here we can put the summary. We will not show the full content. And then here, instead of title, let's remove it actually. Here as the fourth column, as you see in the fourth column we have action. So in the fourth column we can put 3 buttons. One is for read more, one is for edit, and one is for delete. So this will be just link. So here first one will go to view.php. We have not created the view.php file yet, but I will create now PHP, and here we will send a data with the when it will go to the view.php, we will send some data with it. So for the view.php, we will send the ID. So we can get the ID from here again. Let's copy this. And here ID equals to the PHP code. So here when we click on the view link, it will go to the view.php with the ID that came from the table, post table from the database. Now let's add the second button, edit. Let's add the third button, delete. So this will be edit.php and this will be delete.php. Let's change it here to delete. Okay, now let's check this in the browser. So we'll have to go to the localhost, then CMS, and then admin. We don't need to specify the file name because it is the index.php. So let's see. Actually it is not looking very good, so we'll have to add few things. For example, for this we can add a width of 100%. So here let's use width 100%. So this is a bootstrap class, and then maybe add some padding here, padding 4 or 5, and also on the header.php let's add a minimum width in the sidebar. So here actually let's add a height of 100% of virtual height, so VH 100%. Now let's check again. Let's get back to our file here, index.php. Okay, yeah, let's check it again on the browser. Yeah, it is looking much better now. So actually we'll have to put some design on this on these buttons. So we can add some bootstrap, predefined bootstrap classes here. Button in info for this one. Let's copy this for other. For the edit we can maybe use warning. Then for the third one, for the delete one, let's set delete. Oh, good. Now let's check again. Alright, for the delete it is not working, I think, because yeah, I'm sorry, it should be danger. There's no delete, button delete on the bootstrap, so it should be button danger. Yeah, looking good. Now let's add another row here. Let's go to the tweet.php again. So here enter title, second post, second spelling wrong, second post, and second post summary, second post content. Click submit. Now if we go to the index.php again, something is wrong here. Let's inspect it. So we have T row here, but T row is not closed. Yes, that's the problem. So here we have started, actually we have not provided any tr here, so let's actually use tr. We'll have to use tr, that means table row. I'm sorry about that. Also for this one, tr. Also let's add some width here. So for this one, let's add some inline CSS, width 15%. Let's copy this for all. This one can be 15% too, but for this one, as it will be a long text, let's keep 45%. And for the last one, let's put 25%. Let's remove, there's a spelling mistake here, table bordered. Also the tier, this tier should be inside the while loop. Now if we check again, yeah, it's looking great now. Now we will create 3 files for this 3 action button: view, edit and delete. So let's create those files inside the admin folder. So first one is view.php, then edit.php, then last one is delete.php. Alright, now if you notice one thing, let's refresh it, and if you go to the view.php, here you see you have an ID. Actually we see date instead of ID. That's weird. Let's get back to our index.php. Yes, we have forgotten to change this to ID. So as you know, we have a ID column in our database table, so it should be ID column. Sorry about that. Now let's get back here again. Let's click view. We see the ID here, ID1. Even if you click on edit and delete, you see the ID with the edit.php. So we can grab this ID value in our edit.php, delete.php and view.php. Now let's first work on the view.php. So let's go to the view.php. Here let's again you can actually copy this here, the header and footer. Alright, now here let's create a div. Let's name the class, let's give it a class name of post. And now here we'll have to again start the PHP code so that we can grab that specific post. So first of all, we can get the data. So this data, I mean the one that goes with the URL, this ID, you can grab this ID using the global variable get, not post. So ID equals to, so in this case you will use get instead of post. So here the key will be ID. Alright, now if we get the ID correctly, if there is an ID, then we will add some code here, else we can display a message here saying post not found. Alright, now let's add the code here. So as usual, we'll have to include the connection file first. So include double dot and then connect.php. Alright, now let's add the query SQL select post equals to select. So in this case you can just star, you can so star means all, select all from, so all column, it will grab all column from post table where the ID equals, this ID here. Okay, now let's execute the query using the MySQL query. Again, you can keep this inside the result variable, MySQL query, and here let's put the SQL code, and again we can use that MySQL fetch, insert it into data variable, MySQL fetch array, and inside this one, okay, we have forgotten to put the connection variable here, sorry. So now here the argument will be the result variable, okay, and here we can now separate the PHP code with the HTML code again. Here, first one, let's add the title of the post. So PHP. So the title should be inside the. For the title, we can get it using the data array. So here the array key will be title. So h1 title. Then we can grab the content. So P, and use P tag here, and here the array key will be content. And here we can also add the date. And let's here add some bootstrap classes, white 100%, and light busy light. So it will add light background, and also let's add some padding 5. Now let's check it. If we refresh it, we have the dashboard, but there is no column here, there is no data here. Let's see what is the problem. So if ID, so we got the ID because we don't see this. Then we have included the connection.php. Okay, actually we did not put echo here, that's the problem. To display anything, you'll need to put echo. Now if you check, there you go, we see it. So this is the title of the post, and this is the content, and this is the date. So now if you can click here, it's not going anywhere. So let's change this link here on the here.php. This link here can be index.php. So see now, yes. All right, view. Now let's create the edit.php. Let's create the file edit.php here inside the admin folder. Oh, sorry, we have already created that file. So let's go to the file here. Now we'll have to put the form again. So we can copy the form from the create.php. Where is our create.php? This here. Let's copy it. The edit.php form will almost be similar to the one that is on the create.php. So we'll just need to modify a few things. Instead of these hard-coded values here, or instead of the empty values, so instead of the empty values here, we'll have to put some values based on the SQL query. So let's again use some PHP code here. So in this case, first of all, let's include the connect.php. Connect.php, and then let's execute a query. So let's put the query inside a variable SQL edit, maybe equals to, select all from posts where ID equals to id equals to if you check here, id equals to id. All right, so okay, we'll have to first actually grab the id that is sent by the url, so we'll have to grab that id. So id equals to again we'll have to use the get variable, get id. Now if the id is provided, if id is there, then we will execute this code, unless or else we will see show a message saying no post found. So here select start from posts where id equals to id variable. All right, now let's execute this query using the MySQL query. We can keep it in the result variable again, and here the function will be MySQL query. Here the first argument will be connection variable, then the SQL query, SQL edit. Okay, now here instead of this, here we can separate again the PHP code with the HTML code. So let's add some PHP code here. So it will be basically a while loop. So in the while loop, we'll have to use that MySQL fetch array again. MySQL fetch array. Here I can keep it into a variable called data. Again, MySQL fetch array. Here the argument will be result. And now let's separate this here. Let's move it down. Move it here. All right, now here let's put a new attribute called value. So here the value will be some PHP code. For this one, it's a title. So for this one, it will be data, and the array element will be array key will be title. All right. Now let's copy this value and let's put it for each field. So in the text area, you'll have to put it between the two text area tag, not as a value. So here it will be summary. Yes. Then on this text area, it will be, let's copy it, it will be content. And date, it will take again the modified date, so we don't need to put here anything. Now let's check it. Here, all good, all good. Okay, let's check it now. (43) we have unclosed braces on curly braces on the number 43. Okay, we have not actually used PHP tags, that's why it is showing the error. Now let's check again. Yeah, it is looking good, but here something is strong. Okay, silly boy. Here there will not be any value attribute. It will be just the PHP tag with the value. So there's no need to use any value attribute here. Now let's see again. Should be good, yes. Alright, now whenever we click here, we'll have to update the data. So here in the action, let's change the name to update. So it is not create anymore, it is update. So in the process.php, let's actually copy this code. And here instead of create, let's add update and connect.php and sanitize the data. Here instead of insert, we'll have to update. So update posts, update post, and here, so update post, let's remove this. Set title equals to, so we'll have to use quotation as it's a string. So title will be changed to the new title. Then let's put a comma here. Title, after that let's put summary. Y. Alright, summary equals to summary. Then we have content equals to content variable. Then we have here date equals to date variable. So instead of SQL insert, let's rename it to SQL update, and also let's change it inside the function. Data is not updated. This should be the error message if somehow data is not updated. Now let's check. So let's refresh it, and instead of this block new, test summary new, let's click submit. Okay, it's not showing any error. Now if we check to the admin index file, yeah, actually we see it is changed for the 2 blocks, not just for 1. So why that is happened? Let's again check our, okay, so actually we'll have to specify. Okay, it's updated all the row because we have not done for we have not specified any specific row. So we can do that using, let's go to the edit.php again. So here we can put another field, another hidden field input. It will be a hidden field. So here the name can be ID and value should be the ID of this ID. So we can grab it from here. So value, let's put a PHP code here, echo ID, right? So now we are sending 2 hidden fields. One is for the date and the other is for the ID, so that we can target a specific row. Now here on the process.php file, we can get another data named ID equals to, let's copy this, and here instead of date it will be ID. Now here update post set, we'll have to use another where clause, where ID equals to ID. Sorry. So where ID equals to this ID. Now it should work. Let's check again. So refresh it, click edit. First block, let's remove the new from here. Alright, you don't see any error. If you go to the admin, all good, it is changed. You see new is removed. Now we see that whenever we edit, it is going to the process.php, but it's not returning to the dashboard. So that is not a good practice. We'll have to actually from the process.php when data is updated successfully or inserted successfully, we'll redirect it to the main dashboard page. So we can use the header location and then index.php, and here also header location index.php. Let's see if it's working not. Let's create a new value. Actually, let's edit a new value here. First block edited, submit. First block, yeah, we see first block edited, and it redirected to the home page or dashboard page. Now we can keep an option here that will take us to the by which you can add new posts. So you'll have to add a new option here. So let's add that in the header.php. So here on the sidebar, let's create a new div that says the class name with the class name minus. I don't know the minus. All right, and then let's put our first menu. This will be an a tag here, add new post, and this will go to the index.php, and here in the menus you can add some padding 4, and margin top 5, and here on add new post you can add a class so that it looks better. So let's add some bootstrap class, text light, then text decoration. We can copy it from here actually. All right, and also that's it. I think let's check now. Here we see a new option here at new post. All right, let's add a strong element here so that it looks bold. Okay, now it looks good. So if you click here, sorry, it should go to the create.php. My bad. Okay, now we can create from here. Let's create. Okay, we'll create letter actually. It is getting bigger video. Now, so we have done view edit. Now we'll have to delete. So we have already created the delete.php file here. So again, let's add our PHP code here. So in the delete PHP, we don't need to show anything to the user. It will just delete the data, and it will redirect to the index page. So we don't need to put here header or footer or anything. So just collect the ID value that will be sent via the URL. So ID equals to, so again we'll have to use the get global variable. ID. So if ID exists, if else, we'll add some code there, but else we can show a message saying posts not found. Here, if we get the ID correctly, we can again connect with the database. So let's include the connection.php file, include connect.php, and then let's add a SQL query, SQL delete from post where ID equals to ID. So the ID of the database equals to this ID variable. If the ID match, then it will delete the post. So now let's execute this post. So MySQL query. Here the first argument will be connection variable, then the query itself SQL delete. So we can put it inside a if statement. So if it returns true, that means the data is deleted successfully. Then we can redirect to back to the index base. So location index.php. All right. Now let's see. Okay, here you can use a else statement saying equals or die function, so that code executor stops here if something wrong happens. Something is not right. Data is not deleted. Okay, let's try. Refresh it and click delete on the second one. We have some error here. Failed to open connection file. Alright, we did not put double dot. Now it should be good. Yes, it is deleted. Okay, now our backend is done. Now let's do the front end. So here we can see the post. So it will be like a website where the latest post or the list of the post will be shown. So let's create a new file on the main folder CMS. And let's name it index.php. So it is not in the admin folder, it is in the CMS folder. Here let's put HTML5 boilerplate code and let's change it to simple block. Here let's add a header. So in this header, let's add a h1 saying simple block, and here let's give some bootstrap classes, padding 4, BC, dark, and let's center this. So style text center, I think. There's a class saying text center. So that's the header, and here let's put a div saying post list. So inside this div we will show all the post data. So we'll have to again grab the data using the query SQL query. So let's start PHP code, and here let's first of all let's connect. Let's include the connect.php. So include double. So in this case, the connection file is and the index file exist on the same folder. So we don't need to put double dot. We'll have to just write the name of the file, connection.php. Sorry, connect.php. PHP. Alright, so we have included connect.php. We have connected to the database. Now we can grab the data here. So to grab the data, we'll have to use a SQL query. So let's name it SQL select. Okay, we'll have to put it inside the PHP tag. SQL select all from posts. Alright, now let's execute this query and put it in the result variable MySQL query. MySQL query, here connection is the first argument, and then the query itself. select, and now let's use the while loop again. So here we'll have to use the MySQL fetch array function, and here the argument will be result. Let's put this function inside a variable called data equals to. So as long as it will take the data, we can display them here using the HTML code. So let's separate the PHP code with the HTML. Let's add a new div here named row. This is a bootstrap class that is used to divide rows into columns. So let's put 4 columns here. So these are some bootstrap classes. If you are not familiar with this, please check the documentation of the bootstrap. So first one, column sn2, this will be for the date. So let's print the date here. So we'll have to use the data variable. Here the column name is date. Then in the second column you can put the title. So it will be title. Then we can put the read more. I'm sorry, not read more. It should be the content. And for the content we will use the big column, so it will be 5. So the rows is divided into 12. So here we used already 4, 9. So for the last one we can use 3. Some 3. Here we will so here we will use a read more button. So let's put a bootstrap class button primary. Now here the link will be view.php, and again we will send the ID using the URL. So here let's put the PHP code, and here let's echo out data ID. Alright, now let's add some margin bottom here, margin bottom 4, and also padding 5, and use a background, light background, so BZ gray, BZ light actually. Alright, also let's keep this into a container so that the width is not very big. Div.container, let's copy these whole things. Actually no, we'll have to just use this here. Alright, let's do some formatting. Okay, let's check it in the browser to see how it looks so far. So we'll have to go to the front end now. So it will be CMS, just CMS. You don't need to specify anything here. Okay, so here on the header.php we have not imported, or we have not used the bootstrap. So let's actually copy it from here. Let's put it here. Now let's check again. Okay, so here it is not showing. Let's add a light color for the font for this one. So class, to be honest, we can keep it inside link. So here let's give it a link to index, so it is kind of a logo which is linked to the main page, simple block. And here let's use some class. So first one, text light for the white color, and then text decoration none, Also here let's add some margin top 5. Now check again. Okay, so it should be as h1 as it is title. So let's see it. Yeah, here the title should be put inside the h1, h2 actually. Okay, h2. Now if we check, all good. Although we need to increase this a little bit, I think we can use column sm3 for that one. For this one, column sm3. So for this one, column sm2. Now should look fine. Yes. Now when you click on read more, it should show a block. This is specific block here. Now let's create the view.php inside the main folder, CMS, view.php. Here let's copy, this is our index.php. Yeah, let's copy this header. Actually we can keep this inside the, no need for that. We will just use 2 pages, so we don't need to actually separate the header or footer. Just copy the whole thing here and put it here. So here, simple block, post list, MD5 container, include connect, list from post. Here you'll have to use, actually we'll have to here grab the data, the ID data. So ID equals to get ID. So we'll get it from here. Okay. So actually we have done a mistake here. So let's get back to the index.php. Here we have to put ID equals. Now it should be good. Yeah, you see ID equals to 1. So we can grab it here on our view.php. ID, get ID. So if ID is provided, if ID, then we will execute this code. Else we can echo out a message, no post found. Okay, so we can just copy this whole thing here. Now here, instead of just post, we can put where clause, where ID equals to ID variable. We don't need to actually use any column or row here. To be honest, let's remove these things. Let's put a deep dot post. Here first of all we will use h1. Here we will print echo out the title, echo, so data title, then we can print the date, echo data date, then we can display the content. So here it will be content. And now let's add some bootstrap classes here. So it can be like BC, BC light, and then padding 4, margin top 5. And let's check it. Okay, now we just see one block. So if we go to the home page again, First block edited, read more. Okay, now we can put here, we can put a in the footer. Let's create a footer here on the here content. After the container, let's create a footer, and here we can put a link to the admin panel. Login or admin panel. So here we can give it a link. So it will go to the admin index. So admin and then index.php. Let's copy this. Actually, let's add some classes here. So busy, dark, then padding 4 and margin top 4. And for this one, let's add some classes. So first one, text light, then that's it, I think. Now let's see, let's copy this footer for the index.php too. And if we check, we see the footer here. So let's go to the here. If you go to the admin panel, yeah, we can get back to the admin panel and we can create a new post here. Let's create another post so we can check the front end. And the title, let's grab some lorem ipsum code from the lorem ipsum generator. So let's copy a title and then summary, and then the content. Click submit. Okay, we see it. Okay, now if we go to the front end, here we put localhost CMS. We see the new post here, and whenever we click read more, we see the post here, and from here we can again go to the admin panel. Now the problem is anybody can add, edit, delete post, so we don't want that. We just want particular people who have the login can do that. For that we will have to use the login system. So actually we will not use any registration system here. We'll just use some hard-coded username and password. So in the header.php, actually let's create a new file here on the admin folder. It should be login.php, and let's put a HTML5 boilerplate code, and let's put title login, and here let's create a container. Here let's create a container, and let's create a form, div.login form method can be post, and here action can be login.php, same file. Here we'll just put two fields. Let's keep them inside a parent folder, form field. So first field will be the username, so it will be text field, name, username. So let's put a placeholder here, username. Then let's create another field, name that password. So name should be password, type password, and the last field will be the submit button. Input, submit, value login, and here let's put the name equals to login. Okay, now let's see how it looks so far. Actually we'll have to, I think we'll have to add some margin here, margin top, margin bottom for. Let's copy this for each. And also we'll have to use a bootstrap class on the field. Form control. Let's copy this for each field. Okay, before that, before checking it, let's add a link here on the sidebar from where we can go to the login page. So deep menu here with href, so it will be login.php. login.php login, and let's add a class here. This will be button info. Now if we check the dashboard page, we have the login button here, but we'll have to add some margin at the top. Margin top 5. Check again. Now it looks good. So click login. We have the login page, but in the login page we have not included the bootstrap. So let's copy it from here and let's copy it to the login.php file here. Now if you check again, looks fine, but we'll have to add some margin at the top, and this login button, I think we'll have to add some bootstrap class. So instead of form control, let's set button primary, and also let's add some margin top here, margin top 5, and let's add style max weight 600 pixel. Now if you check, looks better. Okay, now we'll have to check, so whenever somebody clicks login, we'll have to check if the user exists. So we are not using any database here, we'll just do it some hard-coded username and password. So here at the top, so if the form is submitted, if is set the post variable here in this case, and the array key will be this one, login. So if the post form is submitted, then we will collect the username and password. Username equals to post username. In this case, this is the name here, username, and let's put semicolon. The second one will be password. So this is password. Okay, now we'll check if this username and password match with our hard-coded username and password. So if username equals to, let's say it is admin, if username equals to admin and password equals to admin pass. Okay, so this is the hard-coded username and this is the hard-coded password. So only if this admin and password match, then we will add a session where we will start a session So there is a class called there is a function called session start. So by session is a kind of way by which you can store data in the browser. So we can store, there is a global variable called session. So in the session variable we can use, it's a array global variable, and you can put some data into the array key element. So here let's put user equals to admin. So whenever the username password matches with the hard-coded username and password, then we will start a session and we will store a value in the user key element of the array. So in this case the value is admin. You can give whatever you want here. Alright, and then we'll redirect user whenever they can log in. We'll redirect them to the index.php, and for each file we'll check here whether the session variable is, the session is added or not, the session value is added or not in the user. So we can again start the session here, session start, and then we'll check the variable, global variable, the value on it, session. So here we know we set the value on the user. So if we set, we'll have to check is set. If we set session user, alright, it's okay. If we set session user, if it's not set session user, the session user is not set, that means if they are not logged in, we'll redirect them to the login page. So we'll not allow them to go to the dashboard page. So we'll just redirect them to the login page, login.php. Now let's see, let's go to the dashboard page first. Actually it is allowing us here. Oh, we have not put location here, that's the problem I think. Header location login.php. Now let's check again. Okay, now it is not allowing us to go to the admin page. Even if you want to try to the create.php, it will redirect you to the login.php. Now let's put the username and password, admin pass. Okay, admin PASS. Not working for some reason. Let's check what is wrong. So let's go to the login.php. Okay, here also we have not put the location. Sorry about that. And if we refresh, yeah, it is now allowing us to go to the dashboard page, and from here we can add new post, and we'll have to use something here so that we can also log out. So let's add another button, log out. Actually let's change this login into logout, because we are already logged, so we don't need to log in again, so it does not make sense. So we'll have to change it to the logout. So instead of login, let's change it to logout, and here instead of login.php, let's create a new file called logout.php in the admin folder. Logout.php, and session start again. Sorry, session start, and session destroy. Okay, now let's check. Also it will redirect them to the header location. It redirects them to the login page, login.php. Now let's check. So click logout, yes, and again login. So let's check if we can enter the admin panel. No. So let's log in again using the admin and pass. We can log in. I have missed one thing here. So I have not shown any success message whenever user create new post, edit and delete them. So let's do it using or utilizing session. So let's go to our process.php. Here we will start a session whenever data is inserted successfully. So let's start the session start, and then let's store a value in the session global array variable. So here the array key will be create as it is for the create form. So here let's put the success message post added successfully, and now let's copy it for the update or edit. Okay, here instead of create it will be update, and here instead of post edit successfully it will be post updated successfully. Okay, we can also do it for the delete.php. Here let's copy the code. So instead of create it will be delete, and instead of post edit successfully it will be post deleted successfully. Now we can display this message by retrieving the session data in our index page. So here right before the table we can put those success messages, but I don't want to write those code manually again. I have already prepared the code here, so I will just copy this code and put here. So what this code does is it just retrieve the data from those session variables and then just unset the data so that it does not display whenever you refresh the page second time. So let's check it if it's working or not. Let's create a new post and a title, new post summary, new post content. Click submit. Yeah, post edit successfully, and when you delete it shows post deleted successfully, and when you edit it shows post updated successfully. We can add another thing here. We can add another menu so that we can go to the front end of the website from the dashboard. So let's create the menu here. We'll have to go to the header.php. Here let's copy this menu, and here instead of add new post let's write view website, and here we will go to the index.php which is located in the CMS folder. So that's the front end of the website. So we'll have to go back 2 times and then index.php. Alright, now let's add some margin top here, margin top 5. Okay, now check again. Here we see it. So let's click on it. We go to the front end, and from the front end we can go to the back end. So everything is working great. That's it for this tutorial. Let me know in the comments if you have any question. Also, if you enjoyed the tutorial, please hit the like button and please don't forget to subscribe.